Connecting, connecting. We are connecting. All right, we are connected a little bit late. Sorry about that. That's all right. Give people a minute to get on. You know what? I'm gonna look up something while I'm at it. First. Just waiting on some people. Just letting people connect. Anyone? Anyone want to get on? Do we want to get any viewers? Maybe switching to Friday nights was a bad idea? Hello, welcome. Go ahead, throw something in the chat. We're going to give it just another minute to see if we get more people to connect, but we're going to be talking about all the crazy things that have happened in Texas this week that are going on that have some pretty big national implications. Yeah. Discussing it. I'm gonna let some people connect here. Welcome, welcome. We're getting started right now. Yeah, go ahead, say hello in the chat. But yeah, today we're talking about some of the things that have been going on in Texas this week, and the response, and some of the things surrounding it, and the national implications of it. So the Texas state legislature, which I am not running for, I'm running for U.S. House for federal seat. The Texas state legislature typically only meets one time basically per election, so every 2 years. And kind of traditionally what happens is most laws that are passed during that session don't go into effect until September 1st. But there was a call for an extra special session. There's another one that's coming up too. And a lot of laws went into effect this week on September 1st. Some of them a little bit, or more than a little bit crazy. So the biggest one that has got people so right now is this effectively an abortion ban is pretty close to what it is. So it's the heartbeat law or whatever that the way they're doing it is if someone tries to get an abortion more than 6 weeks into the pregnancy, then any citizen in the country, anyone in the country, can sue anyone who aided that person in getting that abortion for $10,000, whether it's somebody who drove them to the clinic, or it's like the physician or whoever. And if that person who's getting sued fails to show up, then the person who filed the suit automatically wins and gets $10,000 plus legal fees. And then if it is a physician or clinic or something, then that clinic will automatically get shut down. And so what they did is they were trying to kind of go around Roe v. Wade by putting the enforcement on the people, right? So basically making it a bounty system. But also the $10,000 is not paid by the state either. So it kind of it's this weird, it's a really weird system that there really is no precedence for. Turning it into a bounty program effectively, which is awful. And the U.S. Supreme Court had an opportunity to file an injunction. Not only did a bunch of state and lower level courts and even our federal district turn down doing anything about this, but the U.S. Supreme Court had an opportunity to file an injunction because this really goes against Roe v. Wade. But at the bare minimum, the constitutionality of a bounty program like this is questionable at best. And the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that they weren't going to touch it. They weren't going to file an injunction. And the justification was less than a paragraph long. It was, done at midnight. It was awful. And excuse me. And they specifically stated that that this isn't a ruling on the constitutionality of the law, but that they're just not going to touch it, which is so effectively it's been allowed to go through, and it has now started. And so now if somebody who is more than 6 weeks abortion, or even does anything mildly in the direction of an abortion, somebody can get sued for $10,000, and that is now enabled by Texas law. And this is effectively an overturning of Roe v. Wade, completely, almost, which is pretty insane. And there's still an opportunity for it to go before the Supreme Court again, but I don't know what's gonna happen. This is pretty crazy. This was beyond what any of us were expecting. None of us expected this to completely go through like this. Roe v. Wade has been that case is 48 years old, and it has never been codified into law in Congress. There have been multiple opportunities to do that. It's never happened. But like the implications of this are like, okay, now there are a bunch of other states that are like, okay, cool, now we're going to craft legislation based on this model, and because clearly it works. And the Senate Judiciary Committee announced today that they were going to do an investigation into the Supreme Court and how they've leveraged this new shadow docket thing they're doing to be able to do stuff like this without having full rulings and hearing all the evidence and multiple sides and all this stuff, where they can just do these kind of half-ass rulings that don't actually provide any guidance for lower courts. And so, like, well, hopefully that does something. President Biden has come out and said full force of the government, although it was kind of vague. There was no, like, real concrete. He didn't really say anything. Nancy Pelosi said that when the House is back in session, they already have a bill that will do something about this, which is so weird because they were in session on the 1st and the 2nd, from what I can tell. And then Chuck Schumer, same thing, but his statement was even lighter, Senate Majority Leader. So it seems like the fight back against this is like kind of half-assed from our federal government, which is like really scary because this is like setting a precedence that, like, okay, landmark Supreme Court cases don't really mean anything if you can just put the enforcement onto the people rather than the state, right? But so, okay, what does this mean for marriage equality and like desegregation and Miranda rights and like right to an attorney and contraception and privacy and like a whole lot of cases about free speech, and like what counts as free speech. Like all of those landmark Supreme Court cases are now, who knows? The states can maybe override all of this by using this model, and it's crazy, man. Like it is absolutely. I mean, this is the result of a Congress that has continually tried to push its own power onto the president and onto the Supreme Court, and president after president pushing more of their power onto the Supreme Court. And particularly a Supreme Court that is, like, I've talked about this before, doesn't have enough justices on it, and has become very politicized and very polarized, and now it's like it's a complete like falling, like the whole structure now of our like, this feels like an exaggeration to say, but really like this is a complete breakdown of the structure of federal law at this point. Like this basically, at least for now, until like the Supreme Court does something else or something happens to the Supreme Court, something happens, something gets overturned or switched around, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what that timeline looks like? At least right now, the reality that we live in, like everything that we have up to this point now is basically meh, whatever, doesn't really mean much. It just kind of happens. And it's like, how do we move forward? Like, I just don't. Yeah. Like how, like what is the implication of this? Like, it is incredibly huge. Like, this is not how federal law works. And that's just one thing, right? That's the biggest one because it just has such wide-ranging implication. But I mean, also things like this constitutional carry that just went into place. So anyone who's over 21 who legally obtains a firearm can now open carry it. Let me get the exact language. The permitless carry, they call it constitutional carry. So they can carry, yeah, they can carry the handgun, can carry handguns without training or license, as long as they're not legally prevented from doing so. So like that's I've talked to tons of gun owners in Texas who are like, I am very pro Second Amendment, but this shit is nonsense. Um, and it is. It's like, man, a well-regulated militia, like well-regulated, yeah, you got to get some safety training. Um, there's uh, bans. Yeah, there's now like bans on like teaching certain parts of our history to students in schools. Um, yeah, the House Bill 3979 limits teachers from discussing current events and systemic racism in class. The bill also prevents students from receiving class credit for participating in civic engagement and bans teaching of the 1619 Project. And there was more, like they removed Martin Luther King Jr. from the state curriculum. Like like there's, oh gosh, there's so many crazy things. Oh yeah, this is something that has affected Austin, which is states that have lowered their police budgets below the 2019 levels are now financially punished by the state and like won't be allowed to raise property taxes and will like lose sales tax revenue from the state. And so Austin cut the police budget, but now it has just gone right back up because of this law. I mean, there are some things that like are good, like an online ballot tracking system, banning of unnecessary police chokeholds, require body cameras to stay on during the entirety of active investigations. There's an active shooter alert system, reducing pre-K class sizes, but like so, like there are good things, but like but I mean, oh my gosh. But back to the bad stuff. I mean, criminalizing homeless camping. So HB 1925 makes House Bill 1925 makes camping in unapproved public places a misdemeanor crime that carries a fine of up to $500. Cities cannot opt out of the ban. Like, why is the state getting involved in this? This is a city level thing. Oh, there's another thing. Texas is now the first state where purchasing sex is a felony. And that was voted unanimously. That was voted into law unanimously by the state legislature. And it wasn't an omnibus bill. It was like specifically focused on that. And that's going to increase trafficking. That's what it's going to lead to. Because if you actually want to reduce trafficking in relation to the sex work industry, what you need is to legalize and regulate it. You need to provide a safe space for sex workers to work. We know this because there are places around the world that have done this, and we've seen the effects. So cool, yeah. So trafficking is about to increase in Texas. Maybe not that much because it was already illegal. It was just, or it's like there are other things in that space were already illegal. So I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. But if anything, it's going to increase trafficking. So there's like a lot of there's a lot of really terrible stuff. 666 new Texas laws went into effect September 1st, which is, of course, that number is kind of ironic. But it's this is like a whole lot of nonsense, and like that it has all just gone through. Did they ever get the voter ID laws thing? I don't think they did. Trying to remember now. There's so many. Let me see if I can find it. Voter Yeah, I don't think that one ever did go through. I thought it did though. Maybe it just isn't in effect now. I swear, I thought I remember seeing a headline that it was new Texas laws. Voter ID. Texas voting bill, what you need to know. Adds ID requirements and bans 24-hour voting, but also increases minimum early voting hours. Oh, come on. It's friggin'. Yeah, it's paywalled. Texas Tribune. Here we go. All right, set new rules for voting by mail, boost protections for partisan poll watchers. Partisan poll watchers, okay. And roll back local voting initiatives meant to make it easier to vote, namely those championed by Harris County that were disproportionately used by voters of color. So this was on August 30th. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it went through. A ban on drive-through voting. A ban on 24. Right, Harris County had 24 hours of uninterrupted voting in Harris County, so that's where Houston is. Offered a few polling places for one day during the 2020 election. Oh yeah, so restricts early voting to a newly established window of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. But it does require more counties to provide at least 12 hours of early voting each weekday of the second week of early voting in state elections. That's currently required of counties with a population of 1,000 or more. We'll lower the population threshold to 55,000. Okay, but remember there are counties with populations of like 100 in Texas, and smaller most. Oh, right, the Sunday voting hours thing. Okay, so it looks like they retreated on that. A ban on the distribution of mail-in ballot applications. It will become a state jail felony for local election officials to send unsolicited applications to request a mail-in ballot. This is just an application. That same punishment applies to officials who approve the use of public funds to facilitate the unsolicited distribution of applications by third parties, which would keep counties from providing applications to local groups helping to get out the vote. Political parties would still be able to send out unsolicited applications on their own dime. Okay, so only Republicans and Democrats. Gotcha. The proposal is a direct response to Harris County's attempt to proactively send applications to all 2.4 million registered voters last year with specific instructions on how to determine if they were eligible. The Texas Supreme Court ultimately blocked that effort, but other Texas counties sent applications to voters 65 and older without much scrutiny. Though those voters automatically qualify to vote by mail, mailing unrequested applications to them in the future would also be a crime. New ID requirements for voting by mail. Voters must provide their driver's license number, or if they don't have one, last four-digit social security number on applications for those ballots for mail-in voting. They must provide those numbers on the envelope used to return their completed ballot. Those numbers must match the information contained in the individual's voter record. Yeah, no, if you're registered to vote, you should just be able to use your voter registration number. It generally has strict rules outlining who can receive a paper ballot that can be filled out at home and returned. Mail options limited to voters who are 65 and older, will be out of the county, are confined in jail, or cited disability or illness. A correction process for mail-in voting. allowing voters to correct their mail-in ballots if they are at risk of being rejected for a technical error. Voters could make those corrections online through a new online ballot tracker that was previously approved. Legislation will also allow voters who make errors on the mail-in ballot applications themselves to make corrections. Okay, so that's cool. That's good. Okay, so monthly citizenship checks. Okay, nonsense, hard and rest. Oh, checking for citizenship. Told the department they were not citizens while obtaining or. Oh my gosh, there's no voter fraud in this country. Yeah, so there's a lot. Oh, here we go. New requirements of criminal penalties for those who assist voters who need help filling out their ballots, including voters with disabilities. The person assisting must fill out new paperwork disclosing their relationship to their voter. Assistants must also recite an expanded oath, now under the penalty of perjury, stating they did not pressure or coerce the voter into choosing them for assistance. Lawmakers reworked the oath so that their assistance no longer explicitly includes answering the voters' questions. Instead, they must pledge to limit their assistance to reading the ballot to the voter, directing the voter to read the ballot, marking the voter's ballot, or directing the voter to mark the ballot. I mean, that hasn't been an issue. It's just a weird extra thing. So, yeah. So, it's been it's been a week, man. It's been tough. Like thinking about all of this, like it's been very frustrating. Like this is why I'm running, because like this is our government, state level, federal level, is not responsive to the needs and desires of the people, man. Most people want to reduce abortions, and this is not going to lead to a reduction in abortions. This is just going to lead to a bunch of would-be safe abortions turning into unsafe abortions. If you want to reduce abortions, I think there was a law too that restricted contraception in some capacity or something, or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly what it was. New Texas laws, contraception. Hey, nice to have you. Yeah, I was talking about. It doesn't say that I have any viewers. I was talking about some of the laws that went into place on September 1st earlier this week in Texas, and kind of the implications of them, and how they've been allowed to just kind of happen, and what that has meant for the country. It's been pretty crazy, man, that like the Supreme Court just kind of let this like citizen bounty program for abortions go through without any resistance and without giving any real explanation or guidance for lower courts about it. And the implications of like, okay, well, so then what, every landmark Supreme Court case has become meaningless, and we're not really seeing action. I mean, maybe the Senate Judiciary Committee might be doing something, but that was just announced today. But I mean, it feels like a whole lot of nothing is happening, and it's just kind of all being allowed to happen. Oh yeah, I think it was birth control got reduced. So I don't know if you have any questions about that or anything you wanted to add or wanted me to talk about with all of these laws that went into place. But it's it's pretty nuts. Like, this is beyond what any of us, like anyone was really expecting. Like, thought we were gonna be able to like stop something somewhere at some point in some capacity, but that appears to not be the truth. Yeah, it's so I've been talking about it for half an hour now, so I won't drone on, but unless somebody has something else they want me to talk about or something related, go ahead and throw it in the chat. Um, yeah, I know a lot of. I hope I get elected too. There's 3 elections I got to get through. I got to get through a primary, I got to get through a runoff, and I got to get it through the general. Um, I wish you could. I wish you could vote for me too. That'd be great. I've had a lot of people from out of state tell me that. And hey, look, you know what? Even if I can get some of this messaging out, I mean, obviously today a lot of what I'm talking about is already pretty mainstream. Oh, you're out. You're an expat. You're out. You haven't lived in the U.S. for a while. Yeah, I mean, I don't. How does that work? I mean, because you're still a U.S. citizen, so you can still vote in whatever jurisdiction you last lived in, correct? It just has to be like absentee, effectively, is what it is. I think that's right, and that's for your whole life, I think, right? Um, oh, you renounced your citizenship? I thought that that was a thing that nobody actually has ever succeeded in doing before. Um, Interesting. How did you become not a U.S. citizen anymore? Looks like there is. Citizens can only renounce their citizenship in person, and therefore cannot do so by mail, electronically. Okay. The section of law governing the right of a United States citizen to renounce abroad his or her U.S. citizenship. That section of law provides for the loss of nationality by voluntarily and with the intention of relinquishing nationality. A person wishing to renounce his or her U.S. citizenship must voluntarily, with intent to relinquish U.S. citizenship, number 1, appear in person before a U.S. consular or diplomatic officer, number 2, in a foreign country at a U.S. embassy or consulate, and number 3, sign an oath of renunciation. Renunciations abroad that do not meet the conditions described above have no legal effect. Because of the provisions of Section 349A5, U.S. citizens can only renounce their citizenship in person and therefore cannot do so by mail, electronically, or through agents. In fact, U.S. courts have held certain attempts to renounce U.S. citizenship to be ineffective on a variety of grounds, as discussed below. Questions concerning U.S. renunciation of U.S. citizenship in the United States pursuant to INA Section 349A6 must be directed to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services of the Department of Homeland Security. Okay. So you went through this process then? You decided to go through the renunciation of your U.S. citizenship? Yeah, there's more on this page. I say already possess. Wow. Man, I would love to know why. I'm so interested. I'd love to know, like, what you feel you gained from doing that. I find that really intriguing. if unable to qualify for a visa. If the Department of Homeland Security determines the renunciation is motivated by tax avoidance purposes, the individual will be found inadmissible to the United States. Renunciation of U.S. citizenship may not prevent a foreign country from deporting that individual to the United States in some non-citizen status. Persons who wish to renounce as the U.S., you have German and British citizenship nowadays. Okay, you just were done with the U.S. and just wanted nothing to do with it. That's so interesting. All right. I mean, look, you can still do a lot with German and British citizenship anyway. I guess it wouldn't really give you any kind of edge internationally. Man, do you know anybody else who has done that? Like, that's actually like pretty rare. I feel like it's not a thing people do very often. It's irrevocable. Well, it looks like there's some exceptions. Cannot be canceled or set aside absent a successful administrative review or judicial appeal. You don't know anyone else that has done it? That's so interesting. Man, crazy you ended up on my stream. But yeah, that's I think that's indicative though, man. A lot of people are fed up with this country, whether they live here or they don't, or they were born here or they weren't. Yeah. Oh, hello. On Instagram over there. Someone else, you can't see them in your chat, but who's telling me about they revoked their citizenship. They have German and British citizenship now. They went through the process and they were just kind of like, I'm done. I don't want to have anything to do with the U.S. anymore. So I'm just kind of reading through that. So yeah, I mean, the first half hour of the stream though was me talking about all the crazy laws that went into place in Texas and how nothing at the federal level was done to stop any of it in any capacity, and the implications of that on every other landmark Supreme Court case and so many of our protections, and kind of just how this destroys the precedence of law of federal law in so many ways, and we don't really know where this is headed or what it means, particularly with this. I know, yeah, it is maddening. I mean that a state can just get around any Supreme Court thing by just saying, oh well, no, but if we have the people enforce it, if we just allow people to, if we just put a bounty on it, then we can do whatever we want, which is like crazy nonsense. Like the state still has liability for that. Okay, you say you want nothing to do with your former country. Fair enough, it's your choice. But yeah, it's pretty great. It is sick. It is absolutely sick. I mean, and just I mean, and that's all of that, of course, is on top of just like the law itself of like, wait, hang on. So this thing that 48 years ago, Roe v. Wade was passed, and all of a sudden now anybody in the country can sue someone in Texas who like even thought about getting an abortion, anybody who had anything to do with it or related to it. I saw a tweet, man, that was like, so if I ask Alexa, if a Texas woman asks Alexa where some local abortion clinics are, does that mean we can sue Amazon or Jeff Bezos? Like, it's, the whole thing is ridiculous, right? Like, it doesn't, and the law doesn't answer any of these questions. And it's like, man, all right, cool. So all we're gonna see now is a bunch of would-be safe abortions turning into unsafe abortions. That's it. The number of abortions is not actually gonna reduce. And then I mean, all the other things like this constitutional carry. Anyone over 21 who's legally obtained a handgun can now carry it without any license or training. Miscarriage could risk having someone accuse you of abortion too. Yeah, because a miscarriage, by some definitions, is an abortion. And it's like, what are you supposed to do if your body is just like, nope, I'm done? Like what? So somebody can sue you for doing this? Like it's nonsense. It's crazy. And so yeah, I mean it's like this is just so spontaneous abortion. Yeah. That's like another thing. Yeah, it's like, I tweeted, I was like, I wonder the Texas state legislature of who voted for this have family who have had an abortion, and I bet every single one of them does. I bet every single one of them is related to somebody who has. It's absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And now they're not allowed to teach about like racism in school and stuff. Yes, RoboMax, you cannot run for. The only reason why you regret not being U.S. citizens is that you can't be president anymore. You can't run for president. Yeah, I mean, winning the presidential race is incredibly difficult. Oh yeah, they would never say that they're related to somebody who had an abortion. Of course they wouldn't. Which is what it's we need to leak. We need sleuths. We need sleuths who are going to find information on all of that. Who can release that stuff publicly to show, well, hey, look, they all had abortions. I mean, or they're all related to people who have had abortions. I don't know how effective it would be with their voter base, but only do the best we can with what we've got. But yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't seem like something even in Texas that the majority of people would be in favor of. I mean, the thing too is, like, you can't hide behind lies around it, because if you want it to be real, you have to share that piece of information. It's like, okay, now you can sue people for $10,000, and it's like you have to actually get people to do that for this to actually take effect. Like, you actually have to get people to enforce it, and that includes your voter base. Like, your voter base isn't going to miss out on that messaging, and that's going to probably feel way beyond what's okay to a lot of people. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, this, it's like we are in such a crazy limbo land right now. Like, how does this work? Like, why did it take 2 days for the Senate Judiciary Committee to say anything about it? Like Pelosi was like, yeah, we have a bill, and we're gonna pass it when we're back in session, even though the House was in session on the 1st and the 2nd. And then Chuck Schumer has said only a little bit about it. Biden has said some very vague things, but nothing concrete. Like, it's like, okay, so we just don't have federal law anymore. I mean, it's nuts. It's just very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating, all of this. You gave about 15 to have recipes, dinosaur facts, reasons for a driver license being surrendered. Yeah, I was definitely, well, there's the one that's like just the that's from just like a third party organization or whatever, that you can just like submit anonymous tips, but the actual official that's just that though. But for the state, I think you need to like actually file a lawsuit properly. Like, you need to get a lawyer, and that's the thing too. You don't just get $10,000. You also get their legal fees go up to the case, to the lawsuit. If somebody tries to sue you, regardless of whether or not you did. I mean, like, this could now just be precedent for just like some kind of hate crime, of like, I'm just gonna call you out. Like, I'm gonna, like, if somebody's going on vacation or something and is gonna like miss their mail or whatever, you could have a letter. You could send them. You could have your attorney send them a letter in the mail, and then they miss it, and then they never show up to the court case, and then boom, now all of a sudden they owe $10,000 and plus legal fees to you. I mean, it's insane, and that's anybody in the country, by the way. Anybody in the country can sue somebody from Texas. Yeah, it's hate crimes. It is everything. It is all of the things. I mean, this doesn't help achieve the thing that they want, which is to reduce abortions. That's what the vast majority of Americans want, is to reduce abortions. And this does not help that. All it does is turn would-be safe abortions into unsafe abortions. I know. This is why I'm running for Congress, because it's I mean, this kind of stuff. I just like we need people who care, and we need people in power who care. Hello, thanks for joining, George Hall. Glad to have you. We've been talking about some of these crazy Texas laws that came into place this week, and that basically nothing was done about, and have set precedents for the complete destruction. Oh, that's so weird. Oh, they just stopped coming through. That's so interesting. Oh, did Twitch break? Let me check out Twitch, see what happened. Go to my stream manager. They didn't like science, and so the real methods are alien to them. Oh, they don't like science, so the real methods are alien to them. I guess, yeah. I mean, like, we have. I don't think it's that comprehensive. I think it's all about, like, controlling people. Is really what it comes down to. And well, I mean, I don't know if every legislator is like that. The ones at the top certainly are. And then they've managed to brainwash everybody else. But the ones at the top know what's really going on, which is that it's about dividing people, it's about keeping people impoverished and unable to fight back. Okay. Yeah, let me see if I'm online here on Twitch, though, still. 6-week fetuses do not have hearts. No, they literally don't. They don't even have hearts. And heartbeats are not how we determine that something is alive. It's based on brain activity. It just cells registering electric activity on sonogram. Yep. Okay. As you're saying, okay, so back to the guy who revoked their citizenship. I was never a real citizen, wasn't born in the US, I was born in Germany. You were an immigrant to the US, I got your citizenship, then you left the US and renounced it. Oh, yeah, no, I see your chat, it's not coming through on my thing. Let's see here, yeah, I lost you, but you said you can't run for president, and then I lost you after that, yeah. Your life has been chaos, wow. What happened with Twitch? Just like broke? What is OBS doing all right? Oh, I'm definitely losing some frames. Yeah. This is so weird. Alright, I'll have to investigate that later. Can I get to my stream manager? Anyway, yeah, you wish you could stay longer, but you have to go now. I'll watch the rest of the feed if you save. Thanks for joining. Yes, thank you for coming. This will be on Instagram Live, and I always have, this is a kind of a separate stream from the other one I do at the same, I stream 2 things, but always on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and Twitter too, so plenty of platforms. All right. After the message about the president, Twitch broke for both of us. Yeah, that's so weird. All right. Well, yeah, it's still giving me, and yeah, it looks like, yeah, Twitch has been giving me problems lately, which is like not cool because I like pay money for Restream, which is supposed to handle all of this. Oh, it says I'm no longer. Oh, I think it just tried reconnecting to Twitch. So we'll see here. Creator dashboard. Why can't I find my stream manager? Here we go. I'm live. Manage stream. Stream preview. Hang in there. It's loading everything. And do you have any Robo, do you have any like unrelated questions? Yeah. Twitch is like definitely broke. This is super weird. Oops, wrong site. Let's see here. Restream says I'm connected. It says I have 0 viewers on YouTube, but this also is like the wrong frame. Streaming monitor. It says it's only been connected for 30 minutes, 32 minutes. I've definitely been connected on. Oh, your comments are still coming through. I wonder why people think that fetuses are human beings. They are not. You are correct, but I think it's misinformation is really what it comes down to. We definitely don't learn about this stuff in school, or like what is really going on. And there's a lot of misinformation fed to people to get them to believe something that isn't true. And we all exist within our own circles, and we are inclined to believe what we hear from those who are in our circles. It's really what it comes down to. So, you know, and everything is shortened to these quips about pro-life or pro-choice, which everybody interprets differently anyway, right? These terms get twisted and distorted by the media to mean different things to different people, and so then when people say them, people interpret them in different ways and think they mean different things. It's all part of the game to disenfranchise people. Yep. If you're being honest, you used to be pro-life leftist. Interesting. But what does pro-life mean to you? See, that's the question. What does pro-life mean to you? Because I found that it means very different things to different people. And so it doesn't really mean much to me anymore when people say that they're pro-life or pro-choice, because it's just, the definitions are just so inconsistent. Yeah, I'm trying to troubleshoot this Twitch thing, but it's not really giving me anything. Let's see. Your definition of pro-life is someone who thinks that fetuses are human beings and abortion is murder. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, like I would say, not everybody I've talked to who's pro-life would agree with that definition, but yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but again, like I said, you know, it's like, or I guess let me ask you this: how, you know, what, like, you're asking the question, you wonder why people think that fetuses are human beings. They are not. At the same time as like recognizing that you used to think that fetuses were human beings and that abortion was murder. And so the question then is, the answer to your first issue is just by better understanding the last thing you said of like, okay, how did you believe that fetuses were human beings? Like I'd love to understand how you initially or originally came to that opinion before changing to what you believe now. Because I think that's really important, right? I think it's really important that we recognize, these realities of like, look, there are people who disagree with us, and if we understand why they believe what they believe, and we have real conversations with them, and we listen to them, and we connect with them, we form genuine human connections with people, maybe then we can have real conversations and move forward with, like maybe move into a different place. And one of the things I say too is like, don't expect to change somebody else's perspective without also changing yours. So yeah, I'd love to know how you ended up, thinking what you used to think. I want to see how Twitter's going. In the meantime, everything's going slowly. My computer I'm using. Okay, you used to believe that fetuses are the predecessor of babies and abortion was murdering a child. That is my old logic. That's it. I mean, because it's the predecessor of babies. I mean, fetuses sort of are the predecessors of babies. Like, that's not entirely untrue. But like, why would that, if it wasn't a child yet, like, I'm just trying to connect, like, maybe it was contradictory and that didn't bother you at the time. But it still feels like there's still something missing in that. You know what I mean? All right, let's see. It doesn't seem to be, sometimes I've come back to Twitter and found people commenting on it later, but it looked like maybe they commented during it and they never came through. So now I'm trying to like check and make sure. 0 viewers on Twitter. Okay. Man, I got a lot of notifications on Twitter right now. Okay, let's see here. This one is even worse. No, now I'm getting into voting methods. Oh yeah, people are retweeting me. That's cool. This person who doesn't understand anything about voting method reform, hazard pay. Oh, that's a good point. Okay, I'm going to come back to this electoral college debate later because that's going to require some brain power. Yeah, okay, that's all just happening in a thread that I'm on. All right, cool. So I can come back to that later. Yeah, but I don't know. I just think it's interesting. So I'd love to understand like how you came, how you came to understand or came to believe differently. Like what was that path? What was that journey like for you, going from quote believing that fetuses are the predecessor of babies and abortion was murdering a child to now believing that fetuses are not human beings, which I agree with, but I'd love to understand what your journey was and what that path looked like, because the better we understand what that journey looks like, the more we can be sympathetic to that journey for others, and maybe help others to go through that journey. Looks like we got one or two other people in this stream too, so go ahead and say hello or hi or whatever. I've already been on for an hour, but I'm always taking questions about whatever you want to talk about, whether the topic at hand or something totally different. But running for Congress, so I'm always down to answer whatever. Just make sure I don't have any like Facebook comments that like didn't come through or something. I bet I'm lagging. I bet my video is lagging so much. It's so easy to get distracted on social media. Oh my goodness. Alright, there doesn't appear to be any comments on the Facebook stream. I guess maybe we'll check my YouTube stream. In live control room. Yeah, but I mean, definitely just comes down to okay, so there's all the comments from YouTube seems to have come through, which is good. This seems to be working all right. Yeah, everything seems to be, well, who knows about Twitch? Twitch still might be broken. It says I'm live, but it's not. Twitch might be broken, so I might have to check that out. Cool. Well, all right. If nobody else has anything they want to say or talk about or questions or whatever, then I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. It's definitely like, oh, here we go. You were watching a ton of a Twitch streamer called Yusa Olay at the time. He was talking about abortion one night. You were pro-life, but you were pretending to have a neutral stance on the issue. There's more to come, so I'll let you type that out. I won't go anywhere. Pretending to have a neutral stance on the issue. Okay, interesting. I've done that before too, though. Like, definitely pretending to be neutral or just asking genuine questions. That's definitely a thing I've done before, for sure. Let me turn this a little bit more this way. Sorry if I'm making you like try to type too fast or whatever. I totally get. You take your time. I just switched to Friday nights this week, and sort of last week, to try to get more viewership. So hopefully I should be able to build that up, and I'll have more people to interact with throughout. I do wonder if streaming on 5 platforms at the same time hinders me rather than helps me. Like if it just splits it up too much and I can't gain enough like critical mass on one of them to like actually start getting like people involved. Here, I wonder, let me check out OBS and see how many Yeah, still dropping like a frame a second, more than that. The computer just can't handle it. It's too much rendering. It's got a little Mac Mini, man. But I definitely, when I have the money, which I don't have right now, gonna want to get a streaming computer. It's like a PC for this, for sure, or at least like. I wonder if like an external GPU would do the trick, but like GPU prices are so weird right now. I think they have come down, but I don't know if that would be enough. It'd be great if Apple like put some time into optimizing OBS for the Mac. That'd be great, including on Intel, because that's what I'm still on. I'm still on Intel. And actually, I'm gonna refill my water real quick. Should have filled it ahead of time. Can I? Oh boy, we got the sun shining in right through the window. Look at that. Oh, that's gonna get crazy. Oh my goodness. That is gonna make this video look absolutely insane. Alright, we're gonna shrink this. Turning a whole lot of free speech. I am trying to think though too about like, now that I've moved this to Friday nights and I wasn't really getting a lot of viewership on other streams, like some of the issues that I've talked about before, should I talk about them again? Alright, we got the second half of your story. Alright. He told you all about pro-choice theory. After that stream, you decided to do some research yourself into it. You slowly started getting more pro-choice, and now you are pro-choice. I think you had a typo there. Sorry if this is undetailed. Character limit on YouTube is horrible. Can't fit much into one comment. Oh, YouTube has a character limit? That's so dumb. I'm trying to remember which ones do and which ones don't. Oh, hello. Nice to have you here over on Insta. Yeah. So no, I totally get, and that's a difficult path for a lot of people. Like, this is one of the things for sure that like happens is like there are a lot of people who aren't as interactive as others and who just put everything in the background. They just lurk. They read comments and they watch content, but they never comment themselves. They never like or favorite or retweet or reblog or share or whatever. And their opinions do shift over time as they see things. And so like there is value, but like also at the same time, like I really do think that like the most effective approach is the one-on-one conversations with people, preferably face-to-face if you can. I know COVID gets in the way of that, but like this is the thing I really want to do, and I'm trying to find a way to do it. Is like I want to have one-on-one conversations with people who disagree with me live on stream, to show people, to demonstrate how we can have conversations with people who disagree with us. You have to credit your pro-choice stance to. Wait, hang on. His name is Usahol. Usahol. That's his stream name. You owe him one. Yeah, I mean, I definitely oh, you know what? This is something I really wanted to talk about, actually. And I'm probably gonna do like a stream dedicated to it at some point, but I really want to have somebody else on when I talk about it. Is that like I definitely was headed down a pretty negative path as a teenager, 14, 15, when I was first getting on Facebook and I was in high school. And it was kind of just by chance that like I happened to friend a couple of people on Facebook who like regularly posted about some of these things that it's really against, or I don't want to say like on the wrong side of, but certainly on a that or took a more inhumane stance on. And it was because of the stuff that they posted that I think I really do attribute that to like why I didn't end up going down like the white supremacist route, and that's not a joke. Like very much, I started to feel like, why am I not allowed to talk? Or and this was back in like 2010, right? So like it's worse now than it was back then for sure. And there's definitely like I owe it to those friends about like, oh, you gotta go? Okay, I totally understand. All right, you have a nice day, Robo. I'll try to figure out this Twitch nonsense and what happened. But I stream every Friday at 6 p.m. Central. Try to talk about political stuff, but always welcome to have you on. All right. From there, though, yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here. I'll share that story another time when I can talk more about it more in detail and have some more back and forth. I'd love to do it when I can have an indigenous friend on, because I think that's really extra relevant, indigenous issues with that. But all right.